Well, my goodness. Hello. It's been quite a long time, has it not? I'm sorry for my absence. Yeah. Been busy with life. Been doing sold out stand-up shows, which has been nice. Obviously, I'm not selling them out by myself. I am in a comedy group known as Laugh 701. You can look us up on Instagram and Facebook, and we will have our own YouTube channel that we'll be posting clips and specials, I guess, if you want to call them that, on there. So shout out to Cole Pick, Samson Hurley, Brandon Loftus, and myself, Alex Ward. That is my big mainstay right now in what I'm doing for my extracurricular. And we're doing pretty good. Doing really good, actually. We just did a church gig this last Saturday, and that went way better than I expected because we had to do clean material only and we did get some memes out of it, which I'm going to put on the screen in a second, just one of them, which makes me laugh, makes my wife laugh too. We've been laughing about it ever since it happened. And then I'll give some backstory into that probably in another video. But man, I have been really kind of in the dumps about whether I should get back into doing videos for Raid or not. Like the channel is okay successful. It's nothing great. I have acquired, over 500 subscribers, which is, it's mostly just people that like, oh, they see one champion guide I did like a year or two ago and they're like, I like this guy and they subscribe, right? I made it a point doing the videos to never ask the audience, hey, oh, like and subscribe, fucking, yeah, click that down in the fucking thing, the fucking notification button. No, I didn't like doing that. I think I did do, boy, this narcissist just almost killed us with the Harima on our team. That's a strong narcissist. Um, I did do on a stream once, like, hey, could you guys, because I had like, I think 15 people watching at the time. I was like, could you guys just like, you know, hit the like button on this stream? I think I was doing a Hydra takeover. And I said it really helps the channel out. And then I think that was one of the last, I think that was the last stream I did. Um, but yeah, I am back. Uh, I am going to put out one video a week at least. Except I will be in Ireland in 2 weeks. And Nubkex, if you ever do see this, him and I did talk. Hopefully, we're gonna go out for a beer when I get there, which would be kind of cool. Which would be really cool. Um, so yeah. But today, I saw all the new stuff for the patch that's going to be going live on Thursday, and it's got a lot of juicy stuff in it. Okay. Now I have the other content creator videos. I have them pulled up on my tab, so I'm gonna watch those in a bit to kind of gauge because they have access to the test server and they actually get to see if the new champions, because we are getting new champions and we get a new mythical, and it probably isn't good, but it looks really funny. And I don't know if I'm gonna laugh or cry if that's gonna be my first shard pulled mythical. Um, but oh, it's just amazing. Anyways, so yeah, let's just get into it. I'm just doing CVC stuff right now. Let us go to the browser, display capture. Okay, so here we go. All right, this is gonna be, and then I'll just we'll just zoom in here so everybody can read with us. Highlight 8.5. These are gonna be the big things coming this Thursday when the patch goes live. Guarantee you it's either going to be tomorrow or very early Thursday morning. It's probably tomorrow though, which will be Wednesday, as you will pre-download this patch. So just a heads up there. Anybody that's wanting to use RSL Helper, avoid updating your client, your Player and Play client, because if you download that first and then try to use Player and Play, or try to use your RSL Helper, it's not going to let you. Okay. Which Farb stuff also, can we just kind of get a thing for Farb stuff? Buddy, could you just let us use it for, running dungeons just so we don't have to use multi-battles? Personally, I think Raid, what they need to do is get rid of the multi-battles, okay? Like you buy them and you get these X, you only get so many a day. Do what Dislight does and do what like AFK Arena and all those other guys do in Summoner's War. They let you queue up like up to 30 multi-battles, and as long as you have the energy or you want to use like your premium currency like gems, just let us do it, and then we come back after 30 battles, boom, and we get to run another. Because here's the thing, we're using resources, and that means Plarium's going to get more money because we're going to have to buy more resources or we have to wait. So that's, that's the thing. So just my thought. But the big highlight for this entire patch is right here. Okay? Boom. This beautiful thing, which I'm going to tell you right now, if epic empowerment is happening, we're definitely going to get rare empowerment. It's probably going to be like another 6 months, or it'll be next year. Because my thought process on this is they waited this long for epic champion empowerment because they wanted to push mythicals for people to buy mythicals to, you know, do whatever in the game, right? They wanted to sell shards. They wanted to really accentuate how good mythicals were. And it's hard to do that when you have +4 seers fully awakened and like in the best like ascended gear, and they're just, just killing every wave that they come across, right? So it's hard to do that. But now that they've pushed out, I don't know how, we have over 10, we have 15 mythics now, I think. Might be 16 with the rooster that we're, oh, damn it, I spoiled it. Well, whatever. Anyways, here we go. Let's just get into it. They are announcing that they are doing Epic Champion Empowerment. This will be going live this week. Okay. So you will require duplicates up to 4 of the champion you wish to empower. Now there are some unique epics that cannot be obtained more than once, like when you've got them through the Doom Tower or login stuff or whatever. They have a specific epic that will empower them. Okay, just like legendaries. So don't worry about that. Stat-wise, epic champs will see the same bonuses to HP, attack, defense as their legendary and mythical counterparts, but they will get a slightly smaller boost to other stats, which are the ones that are actually the most important, which is resistance, accuracy, and speed. Yeah, and like crit damage and crit rate and all that. So to keep your gardening green neat and clutter-free, you're also making the champion filter available alongside the more basic sorting options. Great. So now we have quality of life tavern improvements. Okay. So what they're doing here is now we're gonna get we got a champion filter in, this is amazing, in the tavern. This should have been there the entire time, but I'm happy they got it to us now. Awakened Chaos Era, whatever, Dragon Era, all those other guys already had this. And then Plarium is finally just like, yeah, it's time to do this. So now we can filter for champions, because you know how annoying it is when you have to flip this thing here and you're like, okay, I need everybody that's the low rank. All right, now I need to flip them to the top rank because the bruiser at the bottom or whatever, that thing. We got this now. So we can just be like, all right, I only want to do 3-star 3-star guys, okay? 2-star guys. Same thing with like ascensions. We can now just hit max, right? So for whatever like whatever I'm sorry. Brain fart. Whatever rank they are, you can just hit max and it'll automatically pull all of the best options to do that, to get them to max. Okay? And then books. I do not recommend this unless it is a S tier champion and you want them fully booked out, but you can now hit max for their books. Again, listen to Ope here, right? Listen to Alex, Uncle Alex. Do not do that. Okay? If a champion, like, I'm trying to think of who is one that you don't want fully maxed. It's over the top of my head right now. But there are champions you do not want to max out their A1. You do not want to max out, their A3 or A2, like Godseeker and Neri right now for the Sand Devil strat. Okay? So I don't recommend that. And this here, upgrading champions with brews, but now it looks like we can select more than 6 at a time champions to feed into another champion. This is great because it really got annoying going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, upgrade, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, upgrade. You can click this little thing here and do instant upgrade, if you guys can see it right down here. Okay. And then now, actually, we will have multi-champion rank up, which is great. And it'll smart pick from whatever food sources, and we have a filter here that we can do where you can set it up and be like, okay, I only want uncommons and chickens to be used to upgrade champions, which is great. This is all a massive improvement. Very happy. I think the general consensus for this patch is big thumbs up. We love it. We love it. Good stuff. Okay. Rolling down here. New clan role lieutenant. This is new to me. I'm just going to read this. Players will rank below deputies and will have the right to invite new members to the clan. Furthermore, the maximum number of deputies will be increased to 5. Awesome. So now, us in Damnation, I'm going to get, 2 extra cohorts and then however many lieutenants. That's going to be cool. New UI changes for new tabs. That's kind of weird. I don't think anybody really cares too much about that, but this is just probably cleaning it up, making it prettier. Here we go. Another good one. Champion rebalances. Now, Claydna, very big sad pull when you pull her in Voids. Let's see if she's any better. It looks like they changed her A2 and her A3. Oh, they changed almost everything on it. Okay. So her A1 before attacks one enemy, 50% chance to place sleep, fills the champion's turn meter by 50% if the sleep debuff is placed. Her A1 is now going to be 80% chance to place sleep, so that's going to book to 100, I bet. And then still 15% increase turn meter boost. Now her A2 books to 100 for decreased speed and leech on all enemies for 2 turns, and also heals all allies by 20% of this champion's max HP. Afterwards, still doing the same for that, but then restores 100% of each ally's destroyed max HP, and then heals all allies by 20% of this champion's max HP. So when Claydna came out, we saw that her passive, Fey Monarch, was really geared towards like Sand Devil, right? She was. And then she just was just like super pooping Sand Devil. Nobody cared. There's better options out there, Kymar, Siphi, and then like 2 Ganoots and all that good jazz. Riho Bone Spear, stuff like that. But now that she's really looking like she's going to be really good in Sand Devil. Okay. Her A3 used to be block debuffs, revive on death for 2 turns. Now it's remove all debuffs from all allies, then places block debuffs, revive on death on them for 2 turns. Oh, that's changed. On all allies for 2 turns, and a revive buff on them for 2 turns. Huh. Okay, so I think the them doesn't matter. I think it's still everybody, her included. So with these champion rebalances too, remember that when you go to fight them in Cursed City or Doom Tower, it's gonna suck. Trust me, it's gonna suck. Like, people went up against Cupidus before he got buffed in Venus, and they're like, not so bad, and then they fucking got worse. But hey, you just gotta work with it, man. You get buffed, and then they're gonna get buffed. And then her passive, 30% chance of completely blocking the incoming damage of the first hit of an attack, occurs once per turn. It's the same thing. Incoming damage of an attack on a random ally occurs only once per turn. Oof. So that got nerfed, technically, right? Because to me, the Fey Monarch thing happened to everybody beforehand, and now it's only happening on one random ally. With a 1 turn cooldown. Interesting. I wonder how she'll do. The A2 looks amazing, and the A3 looks amazing, and the A1. So she's really geared for Sand Devil. She's like, puts him to sleep, puts decreased speed and leech on him. Sounds good, right? And then here we go. Everybody's favorite cleanser, Haycorn Smash Lord. Now, I think this is the second time he's been reworked or buffed. But let's just kind of look at him here. His Rallying Bellow, what they changed on it, it was a 4-turn cooldown for its basic. Now it's going to be a 3-turn cooldown. And then it looks like everything else is really just staying the same. Yeah, they're just turning it from a 4-turn cooldown to a 3-turn cooldown, which it is the cleanse with block debuffs and then the big heal of his HP, and extra 10% of his max HP for each debuff removed from them. Okay, so Haycorn, that was his big complaint. It's like, he's decent, but he needs his cooldowns reworked. Like, he's an old school legendary. He needs his cooldowns redone. Okay. And then looks like his A3 is Blood Offering, completely being changed. This is crazy. So before, sacrifices HP equal to 25% of this champion's max HP, then attacks all enemies. Damage inflicted by this is 50% of this champion's max HP. This attack is always a normal hit. Okay. And the HP sacrifice will happen even if it kills this champion. 5-turn cooldown. Okay. Now it is attacks all enemies, places shield on all allies for 2 turns. The value of the shield is equal to 20% of the damage dealt. Okay. And then damage multiplier is decreased, but it's a 5-turn cooldown still. Man, that's a bummer, right? You could really get a big shield out of this guy. That's another big complaint. Like, you look at Helior, Helior really sucks it up, man, when it comes to doing that. Yeah, Helior can transfer all the debuffs, and he uses resistance instead of accuracy to do all his stuff. But, like, man, that's a bummer. Well, let's get into the epic. So this epic here is going to be what you fuse into Vaultkeeper Wixwell. This is Arwid Quivergrass. She looks cool. Sylvan Watchers, obviously, we're looking at this name. This is a very Fey Celtic name. Very cool. Her A1 will attack an enemy, 50% chance of stealing one random buff from the target. No buff on that, just damage. Pretty cool. It's called Grass Cutter. A2, Quivergrass Vortex. Attacks all enemies before attacking, removes all debuffs from this champion. And then 75% chance, which will book up to 100, of removing a random buff from all enemies. And then that's a 3-turn cooldown when booked. Her A3 is Axe Leap. Attacks one enemy, damage increases by 30% of this champion, has no active debuffs. Will also ignore unkillable buffs if this champion has no active debuffs. Okay. And then that's a 4-turn cooldown. It's kind of interesting. And then this is probably a really high multiplier on that. Rippling Grass, the champion's accuracy increased by 50 if they have no active debuffs. And then increases ally attack and faction crypts by 30%. She seems pretty decent. Might be a pretty good wave nuker. I'm already using the Satyr, and I'm already using the Elf guy to like go through faction wars. So, and this is going to be our rare to fuse into the epic, to fuse into the legendary. Okay, and this is Terex the Restless. We'll just go over them quick. Tax an enemy, places increased accuracy on this champion for 2 turns. It's a little increased accuracy. Spur Claw is A2. Tax all enemies, 50, 60, 75% chance of placing Provoke. From 1 turn with a 4-turn cooldown when booked, which is not bad. I think Gnarlhorn's the only one that does it 100% of the time. And then A3, Protect the Crown, places 15% strength in all allies for 2 turns, and then places counterattack on this champion for 2 turns. Okay, which goes back to him and gives himself increased accuracy on this champion for 2 turns. Okay. And now here we are, the chicken. This is a Skinwalker Mythic. I don't know how to feel. I'm gonna click on Nubkex's video and see what he looks like, because I know Nub is probably gonna show him. His name is Gallus Bloodcrest. Or Gallius. Gallius Bloodcrest. Oh, goodness gracious. Well, let's read him. A1, attacks an enemy, places 30% decreased speed for 2 turns. When counterattacking, the damage inflicted by this skill is based on this champion's defense and the enemy's max HP. What? Okay. Oh my goodness. This is interesting. Enemy max HP on an A1. Okay. A2, Cutting Jib. Attacks all enemies, places a provoke for 1 turn. If the target is a boss, places a provoke for 2 turns instead. Also places unkillable on this champion for 1 turn and a counterattack buff on them for 2 turns with a 3-turn cooldown. Oh boy. This guy's cool. A3, Bloodcrest Call. Fully restores all allies destroyed max HP. Places Revive on Death and a increased defense on all allies for 2 turns with a 4-turn, books to a 3-turn cooldown. Then Metamorph, he changes, but his passive, Rule the Roost, reflects 50% of the damage the champion receives back to the attacker. If the attacker as a boss reflects 100% of the damage the champion receives. Also heals his champion by 50% of the damage received. This guy's fucking awesome. Oh, this guy's cool. Alright, what's his other form too? Let's see. Fulminous Screech attacks an enemy, places an extra hit on all enemies under decreased defense. Cool. Okay, that's crazy. So he'll hit 1 person, then anybody under decreased defense, he's going to hit everybody. Okay. Effectively, on the 1 target, you get a 2-hit. Attacks all enemies for his Sundered Sky. Oh, this sounds very similar to Baron. Before attacking, places 6% decreased defense for 2 turns. Damage increases by 10% for each enemy under decreased defense. Steals 20% of the turn meter from each enemy. Ooh, this is pretty good. I gotta see what this dude looks like. If he doesn't look like the roosters from Rockadoodle Doo, oh, all right, I'm just gonna Rockadoodle Doo. Cartoon 90s movie. Dude, fuck yeah, dude, Rockadoodle. Dude, if he ain't this, I don't want it. Sonic Torture. Ooh. Attacks all enemies. Damage increases by for each buff on each target. Decreases the duration of enemy buffs by 2 turns. 4 turn cooldown. The other one's 3. And then his passive, Unholy Experiment. Very cool. Enemies under a decreased defense debuff cannot place Stun, Sleep, Fear, True Fear, Provoke, Freeze, or Petrification on this champion. Reset the cooldown of the Sundered Sky skill if an enemy under a decreased defense debuff is killed by this skill. Or by that skill. Also resets the cooldown of the Sonic Torture skill for the enemy under the decrease. Oh my god. They made the memeiest champion probably one of the best nukers in Arena and one of the best Hydra champions. That's crazy. I love it. This is going to be great. I think that's going to be great. Dune Lord Gregor. So this is probably in reference, obviously, to Dune. It's really popular right now. I haven't watched the second movie yet, so give me time. Some videos going long. I apologize. Hey, what can you say when you're coming back? This guy has a lot of stuff. Is this guy the Barbarians? Yeah, he is. He is the Barbarians, whatever you call it. The faction dude. Okay. Desert Axe attacks an enemy, 50% chance of placing Provoke for a turn. That doesn't boost up. Earth Cleave, A2, attacks all enemies, decreases the duration of all enemy buffs by a turn, increase the duration of all buffs that you guys have by a turn. Places shield on all allies for 2 turns, equal to 20% of this champion's max HP, 3-turn cooldown when booked. His A3, Bestial Yell, places increased attack and 50% increased accuracy on all allies for 2 turns. And then Barbarian Unity, right, so Unity champion. This is a 4-turn cooldown when booked. If you have one faction ally, decreases the cooldown of all ally skills except this champion's by a turn. Fills the turn meter of all allies by 20% if you have 2, and then if you have 3, activates an instant turn effect on the ally with the highest crit damage except this champion. Huh, interesting. Pair him with Valkyrie. And I have the strongest Valkyrie in the game. Don't fact check that. When attacked on his passive, Desert Monolith has 20% chance of placing Provoke on the attacker for a turn, occurs once per hit. And that does not book up. But we have Barbarian Unity. Allies deal 25% more damage to enemies under Stun, Sleep, Fear, True Fear, all the CC. If there are multiple champions on this team with this skill effect, only one activates. And then his 2 faction skill, allies ignore 50% of the target's resistance when applying those debuffs. And then faction allies, when counterattacking, instant effects and debuffs placed by ally skills cannot be resisted or blocked. Ooh, cool. And then he brings debuff, aura, and then actually aura, all battles by 40. Only applies to barbarians. Okay. We do have a new Void legendary, Senna Amberheart. She's a dwarf and a subheart. Okay. Her A1, Amber Thrust, attacks an enemy, 50% chance of instantly activating a continuous heal buff on each ally. And then this book's up to 60% chance. Okay. A2, Touch of Gold, gives increased speed and 2 continuous heal buffs on allies for 2 turns. So 3-turn cooldown when booked, and it also fills the turn meters of all allies by 20%, so that's not bad. So she's a good turn meter booster just right here. I have Touch of Gold. Edge of Death revives all dead allies with 50% HP and turn meter, and then teams up with all allies revived by this skill to attack the enemy with the lowest HP. The allies joining the attack will use their default skills 4-turn cooldown when booked. Kind of interesting. And then Healing Glow or passive, continuous heal buff activates on an ally, fills the turn meter of all allies by 5%. At the end of this champion's turn, increase the duration of a continuous heal buff on a random ally except this champion for 1 turn. And she has an aura for speed, which is all battles, general, 19%. Interesting. Ooh, nice. So you always love to see Knight Revenant champions. They're just probably, them and the Undead are the coolest looking ones in the game. We have Gaiath the Truth Shield. Okay, it's a lady, it looks like. She's a defense Knight Revenant magic champion. Okay, she is not going to be, I thought she was going to be the, the faction booster or whatever. Revelation Spear. Attacks an enemy, place an extra hit on enemies under decreased crit rate or crit damage placed by this champion only. Oh, that's a bummer. The extra hit is always a normal hit and will ignore 50% of each target's defense, which, if you know anything, that usually doesn't matter. Usually that's a really hard hit. Also places increased defense on this champion for 2 turns, and that's just on her A1. Pretty nice. Truth Beheld. A2, attacks all enemies. Before attacking, increase the duration of all ally buffs by a turn. This book's down to a 3-turn cooldown when booked, and then damage inflicted by the skill increases by 5% for each buff that had its duration increased. Oh boy, if the multipliers are good, she might hit really freaking hard, man. Sensor Barrier places reflect damage on all allies for 2 turns and ally protection on all allies except this champion for 2 turns. Books to a 3-turn cooldown. Also places big strengthen and increase resistance on this champion for 2 turns. That's pretty good. And then Maw of Deterrence. Whenever an ally under reflect damage is attacked, places a decreased crit rate and decreased crit damage on the attacker for 2 turns. This effect cannot be resisted. So my thing on this is she looks pretty good for Hydra, to be honest. And I feel like that's a lot of things now. If you play Magic the Gathering, that's a very common saying is, oh, it looks good for Commander. Oh, that's good for EDH. That's good for Commander. That's said quite a bit. And that is essentially what Raid is turning into with these kind of weird champions that are really good, and they're only really good in Hydra. And this is what I'm looking here. I was going to say she could be a bait tank, and she can. You just need to put a shield accessory on her and make sure she's constantly attacking. Because with her ability here... Oh, no, never mind. Her A1 gives her an extra buff anyways. Well, the shield won't hurt, so I'd put one on her. And then Aura... Ally defense, all battles 25%. We get another tree-looking guy. Glagecad of the Meltwater. Sylvan Watcher support force champion. Oh my god. And then we have Vault Keeper Wixwell, which I won't go over Wixwell. We all know what he does. We all chose what he does. Boreal Bolt. So this guy looks like he's going to be doing stuff with freeze. Attacks an enemy 2 times. 35, 40, 50% chance of placing freeze for a turn. So it's roughly 75% chance, roughly. The target has 50% HP or less. This debuff cannot be resisted. Very interesting. Meltwater Cloak places increased attack on all allies, 2 turns. 80% chance, books to 100 of place a perfect veil on all allies except this champion for 2 turns. Then fills the turn meter of all allies by 15%. And it's a 4-turn cooldown when booked. I don't like this. This is the same thing Creela Witcharm suffers from. This guy could have been just fine without books, but they do this on purpose for buffs to force you to book him. Do you see what I'm saying here? Because only 80% chance to place perfect veil on all allies. To do a buff chance or a positive effect and making that a book requirement, not cool. Debuff requirement, understandable. But book requirements, in my opinion, should always be with the cooldown if it's going to be like something like this. Okay. A3, live stream. Revives all dead allies, 40% HP, 25% turn meter. This book's to a 4-turn cooldown when booked. Also places increased accuracy and increased defense on all allies for 3 turns. 3 turns, wow, crazy. This buff will be placed even if no allies were revived. If no allies were revived by the skill, grants this champion an extra turn. So this gets down to a 3-turn cooldown. That's pretty cool. Pretty decent, I think. Thaw Might, passive. Allies under perfect veil, placed by this champion, deal 10% more damage. Allies under perfect veil buff placed by this champion deal an additional 10% damage to enemies under veil or perfect veil buffs. I can't think of anybody off the top of my head that does that. And then increase speed in all battles by 19%. Pretty cool. And then we have Vault Keeper Wixwell, and that's it for the video. Thank you for sticking around. Jesus, this 28-minute video. Yeah, how about that? I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. I guess we'll see you in the next one.